Just 2 races remain in the Area Truck Series season here at Fontana, California. And next week in the Windy City in Chicago. And tonight, we're going to eliminate 4 of the 8 competitors and get it down to a pretty exclusive club come the final race next week. Now, it's maybe a no more fitting racetrack than Auto Club Speedway. Welcome to Fontana, California. The 2-mile banks that have now been torn down to be replaced with whatever NASCAR cooks up next. But here in iRacing, it's the same old, a wide, flat, worn-out surface that is sure to put on an exciting race, as it did last night as the season winds down. Kyle Heyer joined by Connor Horn tonight for our 16th race of the season. Connor, this place is so fun here in iRacing. It's fun because you can go from the line all the way up to the outside wall. You can push, you can bump draft, you can slide the car around. Tonight, though, you got to keep it in check if you want to make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, you're going to have to be very, very conservative at times at this track. Very slippy, very slidey. You're going to be all over the place at times. We're seeing a lot of fall-up in practice right now, which is not what we really saw in the Cup car last night. That was really because we didn't really get to see much of a long run in the Cup car. Could be a very different race tonight. Might be stacked up still, but that draft is not going to be as prevalent as it was, as relevant as it was last night. So it's going to be a pretty interesting race as we look at our cut line. Not as tight as last night, but still a lot of players yet to be decided for the Final Four. Jake Matheson locked in, led 1 lap 2 weeks ago at Iowa, taking the checkered flag. He's locked into both championships he's running in Chicagoland. Beckner by 25. He's the only one points-wise who's somewhat in a decent spot, but that could go all awry tonight. We saw how his race unfolded last night. John Hall up by 10. Brad Slaughter Jr. only up by 5. Theron and Mason Kane tied 5 below the cut line. Michael Curhan and Joshua Balliet might need a lot of help tonight.
Yeah, certainly the points race is going to be very tight and feisty. 95 laps around here at Fontana. There is plenty of opportunity for mistakes. We saw cautions pretty much on the 20-lap markers all the way through last night with a couple of extra ones just for fun. Tonight, though, the trucks are down a little bit on horsepower and up a little bit on downforce, so we should see maybe less of those accidents, Connor, but nearly 30 trucks in this show, and we know they're going to be packed up and paired up. They could absolutely be a big wreck tonight that takes out some of our big players. That is a conversation tonight as well, Connor. So you have to keep the truck on the road, facing the right direction, and if you're one of the drivers that's not locked in, how important is it to be in the top 5 tonight? Because you're not just going to coast your way into Chicago.
Well, we saw it last night. We had me, Seth Knoll, and Michael Curhan. We were separated by 4 points, the 3 of us. We were in the top 5 the entire race. All of us had speed. We had no choice but to go for it. There really wasn't a time for tire saving because, at least in my situation, I had to be ahead of Michael and at least on the bumper of Seth. So it was really difficult to get that down and do that correctly. Thankfully, it worked out for me. Tire saving a little bit at the end came into play, got me to the lead when that caution came out, when it mattered most. But some of these drivers might not be as lucky tonight. As we'll look at qualifying, we're 4 minutes in right now. Tom Boren is putting a lap down. David Weishart's provisional pole. He was the one who had heartbreak 2 weeks ago, and also 3 weeks ago at that, with just barely being bumped out of the playoffs because of a speeding penalty, and then losing on the final lap to Jake Matheson in Iowa. But for now, he's on the pole, taking a bonus point away from Beckner and Hall.
Yeah, so Tom Boren comes home in 13th there in his qualifying effort. Ryan Swan, Joey Chapman are on the racetrack. Tell me about Auto Club Speedway here in the truck. You see a wiggle there by the 60 of Joey Chapman. This is a pretty low grip surface, and the track temperature is fairly high, but cloudy conditions, Connor, should mean that there's some grip on this racetrack, but sometimes it feels like there's none at all.
Yeah, it could be as fully gripped up as it's ever going to be, but you're still going to feel like you're slipping and sliding. The bumps are very treacherous, not only in the next-gen car because of that diffuser and the whole underbody, but in any car, really. Truck, Xfinity, doesn't matter. You're going to be all over the place. Down the straightaway, it can even throw you into the wall because they are so severe. And in the corner is a big bump out of turn number 4 that you got to be careful of. That's what kind of makes the top line a little bit better. It's not too bumpy up there. You can run next to the wall, get a great run down the front, tri-oval, and back straightaway, and really make time up there. We'll probably see drivers run the top in 1 and 2, maybe not so much in 3 and 4, but the bumps are the bumps have characterized this track and what have made it so iconic over the years, and what makes it great for multi-grooved racing. Even if iRacing is struggling with that, this track always provides it. We should see 3-4 wide.
Yeah, we saw a lot of really good racing last night, and as I mentioned, we did see a handful of yellow flags along the way, mostly at the 20-lap markers. So we didn't have, really closely spaced wrecks on restarts, which we could have had. All in all, there was some pretty exciting action last night. I'm sure the trucks and the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series will live up to that as well. Slightly shorter race tonight. Jake Matheson already locked in, but goes 5th quick here in qualifying, as Danny Ware is the next on the road. A handful of drivers have not yet rolled out to qualify. Mason Kane, who got taken out last night while running very well. Jacob Bell, Justin Sogak, Sam Fontaine, and a handful of others. But mobility, big topic last night. Until the first caution, we saw nobody that was clearly good. Then after that, Travis Beckner absolutely dominated the middle part of the race before getting involved in a wreck and kind of trailing out until he managed to grab a sixth at the end. I wonder if tonight will look similar, where someone will be able to break away, or if it'll stay like the first stint of last night, where it was kind of everybody in a revolving door.
It's going to be interesting because a lot of us drivers after the race, when we talked about it, Travis was involved, Seth was involved, a lot of us kind of chalked it up to racing too hard for a second. We would always be side by side for second. We know in the Cup cars that side draft is so important, and it just bogs everyone down that's involved in that side draft. Doing that at the very beginning was kind of letting the 28 get away. Not to discredit his speed, he was the fastest car by far, I thought, but the side drafting at the beginning let him get away. When we started working together and drivers second and third started bumping each other, that lead went away. Let Blaze McKinney, let Jake Nichols start fighting for the lead, and eventually led to Travis Beckner's downfall out of a lead, wrecking out of turn 2. So I don't think the draft is going to be as important, which means a driver might be able to pull away on speed and might not get reeled in as well. But with how long straightaways are, we will probably still see some drivers maybe working together and bump drafting a little bit. But I just don't think it'll be as strong tonight, as Kane will come across the line. He could use a bonus point for a pole. I don't know if he might be starting his lap. I believe he is, so he needs a good one here.
Well, while he is qualifying, we'll take a look at some of the drivers we've got cameras on tonight, and a handful have given us a look inside their rig. Already the 24, Michael Curhan, already testing to see if advertising works, and indeed it does. Hi, Michael, as he awaits his race tonight. We've got the 09 of Bryce Senesac. We've got Brad Slaughter joining us again, John Hall, as we typically have on occasion, and then Justin Munsell, and I thought we had, and we do, have Travis Beckner as well. So pretty good group, smattering of different drivers. To Travis pointing at the camera there, up into second place, and a very strong start to the night. Last night, Connor, one of the topics on Travis was that new sim rig that he's got. Do you think that him having a stable base on which his wheel can ride is going to give him an advantage? Because last night it seemed like he had consistency he has never had before.
Well, it's funny because we talked about that last night after the race. He said he's still adjusting to it and he's not fully comfortable yet. I think over the long run it is going to be better for him, but it just, there is definitely an adjustment period when you go from a rig that moves to one that's stable and, it's completely new, and you're going to be much better with it once you get the practice with it. But at least to him, he said he's not fully adjusted yet, which is scary because he was pulling big gaps when he wasn't adjusted to it. I joked with him that maybe he should try getting it to move up and down. Maybe that would have helped him last night a little bit more. But I think he will be better with it. Maybe not quite yet, but he's already showing promise with it. 69 went 16th. Oh, Bronson Stafford. You're going to see that a lot tonight.
Big sideways correction in the middle of 1 and 2. That looks like Sam Fontaine just went 20th quick. Here's Casey Lakatos. He is starting a lap, and indeed he is. Went off into the high side here in 1 and 2. Only 4 drivers have yet to qualify. Matthew Rodriguez, Jacob Bell, Justin Sogak, and Casey Lakatos.
Lakatos is just barely going to get this time in. He will likely be the last one to put the time down, I think. Stafford went across the line slow because of his slide, 25th out of 25. And yes, Lakatos will be the last one to put a time down. He actually had a decent run going, but got disqualified because they had a meatball that wouldn't go away. And the iRacing glitch kind of cursing him last night. Ran the high line in 3 and 4, not usually the fastest line there. He'll come across the line, 41.622. That is 23rd out of 26 trucks to put a time down.
Qualifying results briefly for the top 10 there on your screen, and the majority of the playoff competitors there inside the top 10. How many is that? 6 of the 8. So again, we're going to whittle it down. The drivers that are in red, once again, those are the ones that are below the cut line. Those in yellow are above it but not locked. And the one driver in green, Jake Matheson, is locked in. He is headed to a championship effort, as he was last night in the Cup Series side of things. So checkered flag there in qualifying, as we're going to head down to the racetrack in just a moment's time. But before we do, Race fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. As a subscriber, you'll have Area iRacing emotes to use in the chat. You'll also earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise, all at the price of just $5 a month. And our new starting grid sponsor is HelloFresh. Looking to eat healthier in 2024 without having to spend extra money? HelloFresh is here to help. Choose from over 40 calorie-smart and protein-smart meal options each week. Every meal arrives pre-portioned, giving you less time to prep and more time to enjoy your meal. HelloFresh also gives you free breakfast for life with an active subscription. What are you waiting for? Click the link to get started with America's #1 meal kit and use the coupon code to save 50% off your first box. Go to twitch.tv/Area iRacing and in the chat, type !HelloFresh. All right, Connor, well, we've got a couple of minutes left here in warm-up, and when we turn the field loose, it's 95 laps start to finish. What do you expect the aggression to be here at the start for those in the playoffs and those outside of them?
I think for the guys in the red, it's going to be pretty aggressive just to get to the front. They're starting 8th, 9th, and 10th, and Balliet's a little further behind that, so they've got to get to the front. At least two of them, Balliet and Curhan, they probably need the win, but it's going to be a race for points with the 8 and with, I believe, there's a few other drivers there that are going to need points. Mason Kane, Shane Theory, and Brad Slaughter Jr. Those are going to be the three that you're really looking at to go and race for points. So those three are going to be in a hurry to get to the front and maybe lead laps, get bonus points, try to run up the front, and be dominant. So we saw that last night near the end of a race. Me, Noel, and Curhan, very aggressive, but in a line. The games that were being played were really crazy. So we're probably going to see something like that again near the end of a race. But for now, those drivers all have to try to get to the front as quickly as possible.
Let's roll through our starting lineup presented by HelloFresh, and we're going to kick things off. Well, before we do that, the 07 just said on the radio, "I am in a must-win, so good luck," is what he said to the field. That is a scary, scary thing. But we've seen him have success, so maybe he could have a shot at this one tonight. Starting lineup, it's David Weiss out of the front row in his number 33 Toyota Tundra TRD Pro. Travis Beckner almost had last night's race in hand. He starts second in the number 28.
And John Hall, who's been great this season, but only 10 above the cut line, needs at least a good run tonight. He starts third. Justin Muntz, who's oh so close to getting a Truck Series win this season, starts fourth tonight.
In fifth place, it's Jake Matheson, locked in and headed to Chicago next week. In fifth, then Colin Fambro starts sixth in the number 18.
Seventh place will be James Shanewolf. He's had promising runs this season in his Ford F-150. And then Shane Theorin, who's on the outside looking in by 5 points, needs a good run tonight. He starts eighth.
Ninth place, Mason Kane below the cut line. Could use some assistance tonight. Michael Curhan, he's found a lot of success as of late in the Cup Series, needs to translate that to the trucks tonight, starting 10th.
11th place, Brad Slaughter Jr., winner at Kansas 3 weeks ago to winning in his way into this round. He's 11th starting tonight above that cut line. Then Garrett Grant will start 12th.
In 13th place is Joshua Balliet, must win, and he's told everyone he's going for it. Dylan Lee starts 14th in the 25.
15th place, non-playoff drivers, maybe the first row with no playoff drivers. Greg Mitchell starts in the 15th position. Sean Peachin in his number 69 Chevy Silverado starts 16th.
17th place, Tom Bourne in the number 16 Tundra. Bryce Senesac rolls off 18th in the 09.
19th place, the 02 of Jason Dalton. Then 20th place, rounding out that top 20 is Sam Fontaine, a rare bad qualifying run for him in 20th.
Ryan Swan starts 21st in the number 20 Silverado. Danny Ware, 22nd in the number 49.
23rd position, the last driver to put a time down, but not one of the fastest. Case Lakatos in the 50, and then Bobby Tinch in the 66.
25th place, Joey Chapman starts the number 60 back there alongside Bronson Stafford, and 26 in the 61.
27th place will be Jacob Bell. These are two players that were bounced out of the playoffs. Jacob Bell, 27th. Justin Anasogak, 28th. And then 29th place, rounding out the field, is Matthew Rodriguez, making his first start since Talladega.
He's going to have some work to do starting from the tail of the field. That's your starting lineup. Connor, pick me a winner tonight. I think it'd almost be silly not to go with one of the Miller Racing trucks, but you tell me.
I would agree with that. You know, we have no former winners in this race in the field. The only two are Blake Giglio, who doesn't race in area anymore, and James Scioli, who's chosen not to race tonight, not being in the playoffs. So I think it would be hard not to go with the Miller Racing truck. I will go with the guy who's already locked in, and Jake Matheson.
All right, I'm going to pick the 28. I think he was owed one from last night. He was lights out the best car. I think it was a slight mistake in the heat of the moment, but he's in a little bit of a better position, doesn't need to take all the risk tonight. I think that 28 of Travis Becker, I think he was my pick last night too. So we'll see how it pans out for the number 28. About 110-degree track temp. It is cloudy skies, but here in California, it is about time to go racing. West Coast style area truck series, the penultimate race of the season. We're underway in this 95-lap race. Big slide by Justin Munsell there from third place up the hill, took the elevator to the top floor, and behind him 3 abreast with the 8 of Brad Slaughter Jr. in the middle, lap 1 complete.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a slide. It almost looked like the 6 gave the 03 got a tap. The 03 gave a tap to the 6, but either way they got through cleanly. This is already pretty crazy. 3 wide, at least 3 rows deep. David Weishart leads Travis Beckner, who also had a slide in turn number 2.
How about 4 wide? That ain't gonna work. And trouble already. The 24's in it. Curhan down the racetrack.
Caution yet either.
And will stay green. Those 2 tangle. And I think they all avoided secondary contact.
Curran's got some more front damage, but that's not the biggest blow. The biggest blow is that there's no caution. That was the 25 of Lee. Look at the 6-way sideways. He somehow saved it right in front of Mason Kane. This is more of a frantic start than I thought we'd have. Here's Balliet to the middle.
Yeah, without that caution to bunch everybody back up, the aggression level kicks up a notch right through the center as that green and black truck of Joshua Balliet. He said he needs to win this race, so why not go for it? The 18 has a big moment in the middle of turn 2, and here they are, 3 wide down the back straightaway.
This is already crazy racing. I thought it would be aggressive between these playoff drivers. I didn't think it would be that crazy with Curran already behind the 8 ball, dead last 28th position, not what he needed. But Joshua Balliet coming through the field quickly like he needs to, as is Brad Slaughter Jr. He's 11th to 6th already.
Yeah, Justin Munsell was chasing his truck all over the road last lap around. He's still packed up now in a group of trucks back here behind the 18. Started this race up in 4th. He's down 6 spots already. But carrying the outside line, Connor, this is the line that should prevail in the length of this race, and he's going to take it a little higher than everybody else.
Yeah, it's going to be a little harder to get that line to work, I think, because just the lack of horsepower is going to make it hard to wind up that top line 1 and 2. But we'll see a number of drivers try it regardless of that, as John Hall and James Shane will battle for the 3rd position. Good start for the 0-1 driver, but we're still 3 wide back here.
Yeah, the 18 in the middle of all that. Munsell still on the high side. Sean Peachin, Mason Kane, and others. Wall tap there, and the 5 of Garrett Grant has some company. The form of Peachin in that gray and orange truck on the bottom lane.
I think the 33, the race leader, actually got a tap of the wall, but didn't hurt him too much, as we've had 4 drivers pull away. As we get a look at this replay, 4 wide, hard to do out of the corner. It looks like Dylan Lee came down on Curhan and Tom Bourne his last season in area, nowhere to go. Thankfully, none of them hit the inside wall by inches, maybe feet, but they're both back here now trying to work together maybe to get back to the field, but they're 15 seconds behind.
Yeah, their big hope now is that they can get a caution and catch back up. They do not want this race to go green and be half a lap behind for the rest of the race. And if this field spreads out, we could see a lot of green flag running tonight, Connor. We've seen it in the past at these big tracks. As soon as you get the field separated, the intensity drops way down and it becomes a fuel mileage and tire management race rather than an all-out brawl.
I don't believe we'll have, I don't know if fuel will come into play. We were very close on fuel to one-stopping it, and that was last night in a 105-lap race. I think these fuel tanks are a little smaller. We're going to make it to about lap 48. I'm not sure if that's going to be possible a lot of time, but we're just going to have to wait it out and see what everyone does around the lap 30 ridge, because if you're going to two-stop it, you're pitting around lap 30-ish, so that's when we'll see what strategy is going to prevail.
James Shane Wolf up to 2nd past Travis Beckner. Bit of a bobble by the 18 of Fambro in the outside lane here, and Sean Peachin going to jump in behind him, 2 by 2. Noah's Ark down towards turn 1.
2 by 2, it's much better than 4 by 4 as they were pushing, so I think everyone's going to be okay with that. Getting much more spread out, which is not what those guys in the back who were involved in that crash want to see. They need a caution to not be involved in. But right now, getting pretty sorted out. Mason Kane's looking to be inside. He's gone really nowhere since the start of this race, and he's stuck on the bottom line. We saw that top line be a choo-choo train last night. I don't think it's going to be the same sort of effect tonight, but you don't want to be left out of that traffic no matter what.
Yeah, that was my big question is, are drivers going to fight over that upper groove? Last night we saw people basically putting each other in the fence on the back straightaway, trying to be the outermost truck. So far, we haven't really seen that. A little bit into turn one here as they try to build that arc into the corner. Everyone's kind of fighting for the middle to bottom, though, early on in this race. We'll see how much the track transitions over the course of the night as the 52 looks up to the outside of Justin Munsell down the backstretch.
We'll see if the strategy works for him. All night, Jake Matheson last night was saving tires, waiting for the long run, but it was a long run that never came. So when it came to the 3-lap shootout with him in second, he had no choice but to push. But it was the first time he pushed all day, so it didn't really work out for him. But tonight could be a different race, and he's already trying to come to the front, although he has dropped to 7th, right behind Balliet, who's still in a must-win, but he's doing a good job so far. Mason Kane's still dropping further back. He's back to 13th, but the points live, not too close. Slaughter's in by a decent margin as they run.
There's a look at your live points. 9-point differentials, so slightly larger gaps than we saw at the drop of the green, but Curhan way down the order with him running down at 28th at the moment. Travis Beckner's going to get shuffled back by his teammate. Here comes the Shop.area iRacing Silverado up the outside, and Brad Slaughter Jr. lurking back there in the Lumar number 8. That's that red truck.
And Hall needs points more than Beckner, so Beckner's going to try to go for this. Shane Wolf's in the wall right in front of John Hall, so they keep it straight for now, but that'll help John Hall out, trying to make sure he's good on points. 17 to the good. We should get by Shane Wolf here, and Beckner will certainly help his teammate to make it a Miller Racing 2-3, hopefully.
Once again, the yellow number boards signify a driver that is above the cut line but not locked in. And contact out of turn 2. John Hall gets a shove from the 0-1, but in the left quarter of that bumper, that's a dangerous place to make contact, and Beckner's going to give his teammate a shot down the backstretch into 3.
I think Shane Wolf tried to cross over, just misjudged it a little bit, made contact. Now he's going to slide up the track almost into the 28 of Beckner, but he keeps it off from that 0-1 starting to fade. Balliet's in the wall. The 8 might have tapped it a little bit. Mason Kane had issues out of turn 4 as well. That seems to be the trouble spot so far, as he and Sean Peachin had contact, while also I think Sam Fontana and Bryce Senesac almost had a crash.
It's a shifting and shuffling in the mid-pack and beyond here. Just 11 laps into this race. These are not particularly short races this week. Last night's race, well over 90 minutes from green to checkered, and about 10 laps shorter tonight, so it won't be wildly different. But it does mean that we'll see lots of strategy play out tonight. Here comes John Hall for the lead. This 0-3 truck looks very good, but is it short-term gain, long-term loss with the tires and the temperature of the racetrack right now?
We'll have to wait and see. He's looking solid so far. Beckner almost slammed the wall. We're seeing a lot of drivers hit that wall. I think Kane might have tapped it again, as we're starting to see a pack kind of form at the front, but we'll have to wait and see. We got about probably 10 laps until we really see tire fall become a big factor and drivers go to the back when they ran to the front, and that will really decide what tire wear means right now. Is Hall gets the lead, but Weishart got a big run off that middle groove, and he's not going to stay in line. He's going to try to get the lead back.
Yeah, not going to waste the run. He takes it to the bottom, and he'll get the lead back, but will he clear the 0-3 by turn 3? Yes, he does.
We'll see, this is a little bit of swapping going on. I think if they work together, they might be able to get away because they're side by side for second. Brad Slaughter is to the inside of Travis Beckner, who we thought was starting to struggle. Balliet tapped the wall again. Fontana as well.
Beckner gets knocked off the nose of Brad Slaughter Jr. That was a big moment for a championship contender or two.
If he didn't have that stable wheel, he might not have saved it. That was incredible. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if the 8 came up or the 28 kind of shifted low, but either way, they're still 3rd and 4th.
Now let's have another look at that. That was a very dicey moment. Championship hanging in the balance. I think it was off the nose of the number 8. Right there.
Yeah, he came up a little bit, I think Slaughter did, trying to get in line as they're stacked up for second position again. Slaughter with the slide job, not really a slide job. He gets by Beckner. Beckner gives him a little friendly shot into turn number 3, but the 8's clear.
I think these two are probably not thrilled with each other at the moment. I don't know that Slaughter meant to get into the 28, but Beckner definitely meant to get him back. Now line to start, and everyone calms down for a moment. Here's Justin Munsell fighting back with Joshua Balliet. That green 07 needs to win this race tonight, and he has had the pace to do it, just hasn't put it all together yet.
I think one of the problems is that pace might be starting to fade. He got up to 5th, now he's back to 7th and struggling to fend off teammate Shane Wolf. So we'll see if he starts to fade as well. Starting to see Therian come back to the front. He's up to the 10th position, but needs a lot more than that with the driver of the 8 battling for the lead. And Mason Kane almost in what I would call a second pack. Dylan Lee just hit the wall in that second pack. As you look at Jake Matheson trying an apron line, that hasn't worked like it usually does in real life. But he sure tried it last night, and it scared me. But he did a little slower this time around, as Weishart's going to stay in the lead.
Yeah, John Hall hasn't been able to wrestle it back from the 33 just yet. Nice even lines here. Do notice everyone kind of cheating up the racetrack just a bit as the laps click away. Remember, we made it to about lap 20 before the first caution in the Cup Series race last night. And John turns down the road. And this is why I love Fontana, Connor, because you can make any line work, but every line is a compromise.
Yeah, you definitely got to be careful. Ooh, Shane Wolf just pounded the wall. One thing about it is that it's not a cakewalk out of the corner. These trucks are consistently washing up the racetrack, as we're still seeing blocks on the top side. That's Joshua Valiant. That's how desperate I think he would be. Blocked hard the 6 of Munsell. He's put both of them behind by a decent margin as Jake Matheson drops out for a moment. We'll see if he comes back. Thankfully for him, it's not a big deal, but might be out of the race. We'll see.
Yeah, that's a long drop for Jake Matheson. Internet connectivity problems for the 52. It's kind of the equivalent of blowing a tire out in the real world, and I think he is out as the lead is exchanging hands again for a brief moment. John Hall had the nose ahead. Weishart throttles up, and here comes Brad Slaughter Jr. with a big head of steam.
Oh, man.
33's in the fence.
Tell you what, I don't think we saw this many drivers flirting with the outside wall last night. I think the most people we saw flirting with the outside wall was down the straightaway, and we were all packed up. But this is crazy. That exit turn 4 is menacing right now, as we're almost certainly getting a Jake Matheson dropout. We'll see if he rejoins, but either way, he's all good. It's just an extra point for Michael Curhan in all reality.
Brad Slaughter Jr. drives up the outside of John Hall, and Beckner is going to try to go with his teammate, but it might be too little too late, so he jumps to the outside, and Slaughter is going to have a pretty unobstructed line here to the outside, but he chooses the bottom in 3 and 4. That's been a popular lane of choice tonight down here.
We'll see that run off the top side, plus Weishart giving his teammate a little bit of a draft. There's a little bit of team. This is tandeming. This is 2011 all over again. We got 2 tandems at the front of the field. One separated, but they're still going forward. Weishart leads. Now he has Slaughter probably in second to John Hall. Still going to try the bottom line. It just seems like the run off the top is so strong. It's hard to really fight off, as we almost look 3 wide. But Beckner will get back in line as they'll stay second, third, and fourth in that order, as Therian just chopped the nose of Balliet. The 07 starting to fade, but the 38's coming to the front.
Yeah, last night, one thing we saw a ton of is side draft, Connor. Major side draft, where you could get to the quarter panel of the car ahead of you and just basically stop them in line. It doesn't seem like that's as big of an effect here tonight, so you're having to do all of it the old-fashioned way, drafting nose to tail, then sweeping out. But as soon as you do that, you hit that wall of air, and you can no longer go forward. So it seems a bit more challenging to make passes than it did last night. I think the aggression level was really high because maneuverability was pretty high last night.
Yeah, and we're seeing not too much maneuverability. Like I said, I don't think we have enough horsepower to really get that top line wound up. So you're seeing that line. While we're still running high on the track, it is not the wall like we saw last night, because that right rear, there's not a lot of side draft. So you're not really trying to protect the right rear. Therefore, you can kind of move a little bit further down the track to try to get a run off that top side, because you're not trying to just fend off side draft all race. So I think it's better for racing, as the 5 got really loose from 9th position, as 38 and 07 still side by side, while Colin Fambro has caught this lead line.
Yeah, he's moving up in the order here, looking pretty racy. Brad Slaughter Jr., they're going for the lead down here on the bottom into turn 1 on teammate Weishart.
Watch John Hall. Let's see the run he gets. He got a big run through the center of the corner. He's going to look to the right rear, and he gets that big run. Now he gets to the outside of Weishart, but you'll see Slaughter box him in here to make sure that 03 can't get down to the inside. They almost made contact for second because of that big bump. But now we're seeing some drivers at the top line. How about John Hall? Look how far threw that in to the top of the track.
And Weishart on the bottom. It was an interesting trade of energy and momentum there on the backstretch as the 03 shot the 8 forward. It stopped him in his tracks and let Weishart pull even. And then Weishart just threw it down the inside. That didn't work. Big block from the 8 of Brad Slaughter Jr. He just got his car mirror driving right now.
So is a 38 and 07. Joshua Balliet is taking no prisoners. He and Therian have been throwing haymakers at each other in the background, but this is just as impressive. I think the 03 is clear. If he wants the bottom, he'll take it, but I think he wants to do that same thing drive to the outside hard. Oh, he hit the outside wall down to Shirley, but I think he wants to drive it in hard on the outside to get him, but you'll see Slaughter take that line away. That's exactly what we saw a lot of last night, taking that top line away just to protect your right rear quarter panel. We're 3 wide for second. Beckner's going to go 2 for 1.
Oh, man, that was intense, and you could see the intensity in John Hall's eyes. But it was very important he get to the rear bumper of the 8 to let him know he's not playing around. He's got his teammate now alongside him. That's the 28, the Calusa Pines Chevrolet of Travis Beckner. He's going to go right to the bottom, and John Hall goes right to the top.
Yeah, he's pinning into that top side and getting through the corner well. Beckner slid up, did not get through that corner well. He's going to drop back the 4th here, cannot get in line. So we're going to see that. We're going to see sort of slide jobs all night long. They're going to be harder to pull off tonight, I think, as Hall has to run for the race lead now.
Big lunge. He's going to have it. And the 8 backs out. He's going to throttle up, and he's going to take it right back here, right on the bottom. Great crossover there by Brad Slaughter Jr. And John Hall can't do much to defend this.
Not much of a run for the 8, though, but I think he'll get a bump from his teammate, the 33, and he'll be clear before the corner entry, really. Really grew a run there because of his teammate, and now he's going to get back to the top side, protect from the 03, as the Weishart will command the bottom line at the same time. But Slaughter's still not, he's not committed to the wall right now. John Hall is fully committed to that way high line right now, and it's working. This
is great stuff. You notice the clouds have come over the racetrack as well, dropping the track temperature a bit. It's getting pretty racy in the background as well. Truck swerving. Dylan Lee's slow.
Yeah, I think Dylan Lee and Senesac had contact.
And Joey Chapman got into him as well.
That's all that damage matters. Looks like Dylan Lee's pretty hurt. He might be burning at the pit lane. So 3 drivers with pretty significant damage at this point. As in the back of the race lead, behind the race lead battle, Joshua Balliet is still holding on to 7 as this battle's not done yet. But Balliet needs to win, so not a matter. John Hall's ripping top. He might have him here.
And the flyover I thought was supposed to be before the race, but they're in formation down the back straightaway. And Hall pulls the nose ahead of Brad Slaughter Jr. and that number 8, that red Lumar truck, dead heat into turn 3.
Yeah, really, really good stuff right now. This is a lot more inspiring than what we saw last night. You'll see this crossover once again, and Hall will clear him. Here comes Weishart, but he's going to help his teammate in the 8. Well, Beckner's going to try to go with his teammate.
Look out!
Get that block! John Hall wants that top side, and he made sure he had it. That was a crazy crossover move.
Traded each other's dance partners there down into turn 1. The 8 is in there way hard. I think that 03 is going to split the difference here between the 8 and his teammate.
Wow.
Look at the 33. Incredible. This is fantastic racing between these 4.
And now you're going to see Beckner pull those 2 back, try to slow him up as much.
Oh, trouble! Slideways down the apron, caution out.
Gotta keep it down there. I think he will. I think he'll be fine. No damage, but those 2 of them, they already had contact earlier. That time it got sour. And that is a big break for Curhan as well.
Caution out, first time today, lap 25. Here's what happened.
Beckner gets the side draft and tries to really get tight to the back of the 8. And it, can't tell, it almost looks like maybe the 8 comes down a little bit, but Beckner was pinching the top so hard here.
That's really hard. I think you're right. I think the 28
much, but that's tough to call.
Yeah, I think the 28 probably a little bit tight here on the 8 and sends him for a slide. So I'm curious. I mean, we'll see what race control says, but I wouldn't be surprised if the 28 got the end of line penalty for that one.
You better hope not, because he's going to be back there with Slaughter on the restart. Like we said, this is a big break for Michael Curhan. Any damage he had, he can most likely repair all of it here up in the 26th after the 25's issues. So this will definitely change things. And this is another good break for Balliet as well. Tyrion, Mason Kane, did not look good on long run. So I think this is a much needed yellow for these guys. And this probably cuts a green flag stop out of it. Because I thought they said EOL on the 28, but we'll see when we come back around here.
Yeah, we'll find out. Travis was
Look at
clapping
Michael
there.
Curhan.
So
Curhan stays out. Oh my God! Curhan just spun because he was trying. He rushed to the back of the. You know what he did? He rushed to the back of the pace car to lead a lap, and he slammed on the brakes.
Oops! And
then spun, but he got the lap led. But he lost his. I think he got an instant out of that, so he kind of gain a bonus point, you lose a bonus point.
Yeah, that's a zero-sum gain there.
And that Beckner was the EOL. so he will be to the rear. But I've never seen that in my life on iRacing.
I think you're right. I think he traded a 1 point for another as Field comes out of pit lane in the 28.
Well, he did have a 4X.
Well, there you go. Yeah, that's a good point. The 28 is going to sit
makes
on
it all better.
Pit lane, and is he serving an additional penalty, or is he just waiting down here?
He's probably just waiting. I wouldn't imagine he has another penalty. He's just going to make sure he doesn't have to let more drivers by on the racetrack, as usually pit road's closed on 2 to green. So we'll see what Michael Curhan does here.
Well, we might even be 1 to green. Remember last night, Connor,
That's
how short?
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. The cautions here are really short. Even with a driver a lap down, Jake Matheson has rejoined us a lap down. Dylan Lee is out of the race, the only driver to be that way so far. But it's been a really intense first 25 laps, that's for sure.
And it's going to get more intense as we get closer to the end. Business picks up. More drivers that are desperate are going to try to fight their way to the front, maybe door their way to the front. So that's going to make it even more interesting as Curhan will pull off and pit. See how much damage he gets repaired. That left front, the nose, it's not really the fender, but it's really the nose of the left front. It's pushed in at the bottom. You can kind of see where it crinkles back, as that can't be too great for Arrow, but I don't think it's going to kill his race.
Seems relatively minor. Left rear's got some damage as well. All this from car to car. He and the 16 managed to dodge any major contact with any walls. So Field's doubling up for the restart here. Got a great look at a couple of our SimWrap Market replays with the intense racing so far. Race fans, head over to simwrapmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple and easy to use, so it keeps you more focused on the racetrack. simwrapmarket.com.
This is going to be an interesting one. They're going to have 2 drivers that came together starting at the back. Brad Slaughter is going to be down in the 21st position. I believe Travis Beckner's around 24th or 25th, and it really shifts the points when those 2 are that far down the order. It puts Therian above the cut line and Beckner only 8 above the cut line, and it puts Slaughter way down. But we should see those 2 get through the field, barring them getting too focused on each other, which would not be smart. But we'll see what happens here.
Yeah,
also got Curhan back in the mix.
Yeah, like last night, I'm not sure that, even though this is nice to have, don't really know what's going to happen until the white flag, maybe even the checker flies, with how tight and close it is in the point standings. So Ace Truck pulls off. John Hall, David Weishart going to reignite their battle. A little out of line in the background there as a couple of trucks seem unsure of their placement. Whoa! Therian popped out of line. We're back underway from Fontana.
Barely chopped Mason Kane off. Really unorthodox restart. 0-9 on the apron, but he gets back up as John Hall is very calm in the race lead. Gets away from everyone.
2x2, Colin Fambro. There's Joshua Balliet, who's trying to sneak up the outside. He'd like a spot. And one truck was way up in the fence. That's the 61 of Bronson Stafford.
Yeah, Stafford into the wall. And hearing maybe, I don't know if Curran had a penalty there or not, but he probably pit on a closed pit.
Yeah.
Which we always see he's going to have a pass-through penalty here, so he's going to be back in the same hole he was in. Don't speed on entry. He spun on pit entry.
Oh, man, from bad to worse for Michael Curhan. This is just not.
Oh, gosh. And the left rear damage now. He just hit the wall. Gosh.
Don't compound your issues, right? I mean, the crash wasn't his fault, but everything after certainly is. And you just can't afford that in a championship with drivers that have been nearly flawless. Look at this.
Yeah,
this is going to get messy here. Brad Slaughter Jr. on the bottom trying to get by all of it on a mission to retake some positions here. 4 wide out of turn 4.
Didn't work last time. Looks like maybe it'll work for now, as this has put Joshua Balliet all the way up the 3rd. They're going to stay 3 by 3 back outside the top 10. They've got about 9 trucks within probably a 10th of each other.
Still 4. Still 4. Now barely 4, and slide out of turn 2. A little bit of a checkup. Travis Beckner throwing a block on somebody back there. I think that is the 71 of Sam Fontaine.
Yeah, just trying to stay ahead and get a push. It might have been the 0-1 as well, as Peachin's making the third lane work right now. Slaughter already back up into the top 10, restarted 10 positions at least below that. So good climb for him as Beckner's progress a little bit slower from the tail end.
Chain Wolf trying to side draft off the 49 of Danny Ware. That isn't really working. He almost hooked the 49. Oh man, Slaughter used up Anna Sogak there. Oh, that's very tight with Ware in the middle. He held a very steady wheel.
Yeah, Slaughter immediately said, "My bad," over the radio. That was like, oh, tension in the wall. That was the Coke Series arc out. That's what I call it. When you don't turn into a corner at the entry and just bully the dude up the track, that's what I call that, because that's happened to me many times, and it's not fun. That's kind of what he did to the 88, is they're still tight 3 wide, and this is not usually the 3 wide you see at Auto Club where you got like 2 lanes between one another. They're right packed with each other.
Yeah, this makes me nervous because I've already seen drivers bouncing off each other's rib cages here, and they're throwing elbows and trying to dig in at the moment and just get forward. We're kind of in lockstep, and that's frustrating as a driver. You just want to get clear, and everybody around you is preventing you from doing that.
Makes it really, really difficult. That's why you hope for long runs, so you can clear someone. The 8 and 31 just about crashed. Oh. Garrett Grant just put, I think, someone in the wall in the 49. Green truck. Danny Ware. I don't think he knew they were 3 wide. This is very tight racing. We still have over 60 laps to go. As to note Curhan's issues, he is now 2 laps down and not in position for the lucky dog because of Jake Matheson.
Just not going his way. Slipping through his fingers here.
You need a lot of yellows.
Chain Wolf in the middle of another 3 wide scenario here. This is nightmare inducing to be stuck 3 wide for this long.
California Super Speedway.
Yeah.
Just like it was last night, just more lanes at your disposal, but you're still seeing so many drivers ripping that high line just to get the runs off the corner, which is still so very important at a track with long straightaways like here and Michigan.
Anna Sogak now caught in the middle.
Up ahead of that, Therian's up to 4th with Balliet still in 3rd. The 6 almost took off the 38's rear bumper cover with that move as Slaughter. Oh, him and Mason Kane just came together.
Contact there between those two as Slaughter continues to move forward and recover the points that he had lost from the spin off the nose of Travis Beckner a while ago. The 28, by the way, where is he up to? Just 16th.
We're nowhere close out of the woods yet as Kane and Slaughter jaw over the radio over that contact. Kane's not happy about it, so that's another thing to note. But notably, Slaughter's progress has been much faster than Beckner. Beckner's still back in 16th position, not able to get through the field. And this is what we saw, I believe, at Iowa. Yep. It might have been a different series, but either way, when he gets back in not having track position, just seems like whether he's trying to be too cautious, overly cautious, or whatever it is, it doesn't seem like he gets through the field just as fast.
I think you're right. I think that was the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series, perhaps, where he got a penalty. Maybe it was the Truck Series, where he just kind of got stuck and couldn't make progress forward again. On board with him now as he makes his way forward. I mean, again, started this race up in the top 5, was running there, and kind of a little bit brought this on himself. So, you hate to see it because he was having such a good night before. But it's a long way from over. We're not even halfway yet, so he's got opportunity and time, and he is making progress. It's just a little slower than the 8.
The good news, at least, he's still 14 to the good, which is the best out of anyone good on points currently, but you don't really want to have to leave it up to points. You want to compete for the win, and a top 5 almost certainly puts him in. So got to get back up there at some point because the battle for the lead's kind of subsided because of it. David Weishart's kept the lead. John Hall's chasing him back down now, but it's been a dogfight for 3rd. Balliet holds it right now.
Slaughter Jr. to 5th place, past Justin Munsell.
Oh, Carnival, Danny Ware on entrance.
He's way up the hill.
I think that was on his own.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think he just got in there a little high. And once you tag the wall, it kind of sucks you into it until you're able to slow off enough to get out of that lane. But lead battle, John Hall right back to the tailpipes of the 33.
Ooh, he almost hit the wall because he got lost. That's easy to do when you're shoving someone into a corner. I wonder if he's just going to work with the 33 here or not. He has no teammates at the front to help him yet. So instead of letting Balliet, someone in a must-win situation who might race you very aggressively, you might just try to work with your competition here, a little co-opetition as you call it. Just get away from everyone, get away from this craziness.
Starting to spread the field out a little bit. There's still some action in the mid-pack and beyond, but I think the leaders would really like this to go green so they could do battle amongst themselves and not have to worry about everyone in behind, but I don't know that they're going to get that luxury tonight.
We'll have to see. Slaughter up into the 5th position, so gets a truck in between him and Mason Kane. As doesn't seem like they're content to work with each other. They're going to battle this out for the lead. At least all went to the bottom out of turn 4, but back in line as we're still 3 wide, mixing it up. That's Case Lakatos in the middle, the Sim TV, Midnight Energy, Chevy Silverado, and the Sogak in behind him, and Senesac maybe some damage. Oh man, he got loose over the bumps we were talking about earlier. He just follows through as Tom Bourne also trying to recover from that lap 2 incident. Oh, there's gonna be contact there. He's still recovering. Yeah, the bumps on this racetrack will take your truck and they will throw it 10 feet to the side. They are absolutely violent. Senesac covers off the 88. Here comes the 61. A lot of really tight quarters and just tolerances here between these moves are so tight. Yeah, that's what's crazy. The blocks that are being made as Hall goes to the bottom for the lead. Just crazy, crazy moves as he's going to slide up. Once again, a crazy move. Slides up in front of a 33. Tried to shut it down, but Weishart will come with the crossover, and this will bring Joshua Balliet with a big run. Look at the run against them, both of them here. And John Hall is not playing around. He is driving with a ton of aggression. I don't think we typically see John be as, I guess, alpha as he has been tonight. But it's paying off. That one for the lead. Don't really usually think of him as an alpha or even at his team, mainly because of Jake Matheson, but he has been most times just as dominant as his teammate in the 52. He's going to be a title contender if he can make it tonight. He would be a title contender at Chicagoland for sure, but he's got to get through this race first, and this might be him showing his hand a little bit and saying, hey, I'm not letting you go easy. This is going to be a dogfight, and I'm going to fight you to the end. Big drive off into 3 for Hall on the bottom, and Weishart's going to have the top, and he's going to have a run to go with it. That line starting to widen out again as they run Slaughter 5 ahead of Therian, exactly the way they started tonight, and Therian's doing everything he can. He's up in 4th, but Slaughter's right on his bumper, so there's not much Therian can do if Slaughter's right behind him. He just has to go and take this win away as they battle for the lead once again. Crazy how different these lines are looking this late in the race. But I say we're not even halfway yet. Oh, someone just knocked the wall down. It was Mason Kane. He hit it pretty hard out of turn 2. He's going to fall into the clutches of the 5 of Garrett Grant next. Top 3, single filed out, top 4 early. Balliet asks to win this race tonight. Does he have the ability to? Connor, you've said time and time again how fast this truck is, but he needs to put it all together. He hasn't been able to do that yet. Are you able to just, as a driver, I mean, you just, when you're put in a position like this, can you find something extra, or is it something that you have to see to believe? I think there's sometimes, it really depends on what type of driver he is, and we're going to see that tonight. Sometimes drivers who can rise to the occasion, as Hall and Weishart are in the wall for the lead, he's going to get a run back for 3rd. Sometimes as a driver, you do dig deep within yourself and find something. You just got to find someone inside of you that you're usually not, and you just got to send it. He might have the capability to do that tonight. We've seen a different Joshua Balliet in 43 laps than we've seen all season. His best run before this, as they blocked for the lead, was at IRP, but this is not the type of driver we've seen all season long. He's driving with passion. He's poised right now, and I think he is digging deep. I think he can get that tonight. Brad Slaughter Jr. has taken these tires from the back of the field almost to the front into 2nd place. That's a huge commitment, though, and he doesn't have the whole racetrack to track out because there's that 0-7, and he did not let him get in line. That was tight. I think the 0-7 came down thinking the 8 was going to put the slider on him, and then Slaughter gave him the line out of respect, and it was almost a miscommunication, but either way, they keep it clean. Hall back to the bottom for the lead, and instead of being half a second away from this battle for what was 3rd, now it's about an 8 truck battle for this race lead. Yeah, we've spread the field out, but the aggression level has not died down. It's less 3 wide, but a lot more shoving, side drafting, and things of the sort, which is really the primary cause of the wrecks last night. We didn't really see a pack wreck until the last lap of the race. Yeah, it was really when we started blocking for positions, and it was really playoff drivers blocking that top line that caused that. So we'll see with playoff drivers, a number of them racing at the front, at least 4 of them. We might see 5 by the end of this long run. If we see playoff drivers trying to block for specific lines, it could get ugly once again. Justin Munsell looking through the middle of Slaughter and Colin Fambro. Wasn't
willing to be patient about that. But mostly single file now for the rest of the field, so everyone can kind of click off a few laps here. 50 to go.
Starting to see Balliet maybe slide a little bit further down the order once again, but I think this is still a great run. I think this is what he needs to do. You can't just sit long run and wait and maybe hope you're faster than him. It just hasn't worked for him all season long. This is probably the hardest he's driven all season long, so he's looking good right now. I think Fury and someone tapped the wall down the straightaway. We're starting to see a lot more of that as drivers bump draft down the straightaway and get lost and don't see that wall. Him and Thieren have battled hard since the drop of the green flag. It was for 7th, now it's for 3rd.
He took the 38 up the hill at 3 and 4 a bit. Didn't want him to have all the advantage with 3 abreast behind him for 5th place. Slaughter, Munsell, and Fambro.
Beckner's finally worked his way back into the top 10. Still good on points, not an issue, but still fighting to get back into the race for the lead that he was heavily involved in. Hall's fighting on his own well, though. Dove to the bottom. I don't think he's going to be able to get up in front of a 33. He's going to try it. Could not do it, and look how much momentum he lost.
And he's going to get split here, or bump drafted, slam drafted by the 07 of Balliet, who had nowhere to go but forward.
Oh, we got a crash. Crash in the back straightaway. 2 trucks. Joey Chapman's one, Sam Fontaine's the other. And no caution, maybe. He comes up the track, caution's out.
Second caution of the night, lap 47. Opportune time for the drivers as they're about 21 laps into their stint.
And it helps Kerham, but not the lucky dog. That'll be Jake Matheson, as we'll see on the sim market replay. What happened here is, ooh, another one down the straightaway, and bam! I don't think Fontaine was too happy about it.
No, Chapman kind of drove up the hill there, crowded the 71. Very similar to what we saw at the 28 and 8, actually. But they have some fairly significant damage, at least the 60 does. Does that repeated contact.
Yeah, the 71 has decent left front damage as well. You know, side draft is not as, we talk about it, it's not as strong in these trucks, but drivers are still doing it, and 50 laps in, it's caused 2 crashes already. So
yeah,
I just got to calm down a little bit. I understand pinching to the wall and all that, but it's not that effective. It's not helping you that much, just causing problems.
Well, it worked last night, and I think the expectation would be that it works the same tonight, but very different machines that they're driving this evening. As pit lane is open, and the field will head on to pit lane, led by David Weishart, and I imagine 4 tires and fuel like we saw before.
Almost certainly. Maybe we'll see strategy if we get a late race restart. But we ran out of tires last night. We didn't have a set left for that caution with 5 to go, aside from a few drivers who were laps down and just saving just in case. Same amount of tire sets tonight. This will be the 2nd out of 4 available used, as Jake Matheson does get the free pass. We'll see if anyone has anything left at the end, but that wasn't the case last night, as they have called that on Joey Chapman, and Weishart misses his box. Could have a new race leader on the restart.
And that would mix up things a bit. So what do you do if you're Michael Kerhan here? He looks like he's come to pit lane, so he won't take a wave around. We'll
First off, you don't make that mistake again.
And the 03 and the 38 win the race off pit lane. Weishart 3rd.
Interesting. Thieren did not take 2 tires. I think John Hall. Yeah, John Hall got out first, but a good one, or a good pit stop for him, as I believe they might have had contact at the end of pit road with Shane Wolf. At least they almost did. It was close. Watch this here. Oh, look out.
Very, very close. Not quite contact, I don't think, but close indeed.
Yeah, if you're Michael Kerhan, you hope for yellows. There's no one else a lap down anymore. You need to repair what you can, which it seems like he's doing right now. And once you got to get 2 yellows first. And as long as you do get those 2 yellows, then at that point, you just got to drive hard and just get to the front as quickly as possible. He has no other options. It's going to be tough to do, but there's no other options.
Racing has been hot tonight. Race fans, be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see if Jake Matheson can hang on to that highest finishing rookie in the point standings position and claim that $100 prize. rickshotsauce.com for those hot sauces made locally in South Florida. 1 to green here. John Hall is elected for the bottom on the restart, right ahead of David Weishart.
We got another player. This is going to be the furthest up Therian's restarted. He needs big point gains on Slaughter or even a win. He's still not quite there points-wise. But the 8 did have, he might have sped actually. He lost a lot of ground again. He's going to restart back in maybe 15th or so.
He lost a lot of time in the pit lane, but not in the box.
He missed his box. I watched it. He missed his box by he might have missed it by like a stall. So that's why he's back there, and he has to do what he did all over again. Yeah,
he'll start now 15th behind Travis Beckner, who will restart in 9th place. So there's your reshuffled deck. 45 laps to go on the restart. We're past the halfway point, about a half an hour worth of green flag racing remaining. And we haven't had any big wrecks tonight. We've just had a couple of tangles. One with the 8 and the 28, and the other with the 60 and the 71.
And also one that didn't bring out the yellow with the 25, who's out of a race, our only retirement, and then Tom Bourne and playoff driver Michael Curhan.
On the restart, 45 laps to go. John Hall, Shane Therian, your front runners for this one here at Fontana Speedway. Green flag.
Another weird restart. Just seems things sack up with people anticipating the restarts. Already drivers 3 wide. Kane to the top side, and John Hall didn't get away as well this time from Weishart.
No, Weishart.
Oh, Balliet sideways. He saved that truck somehow.
Not done yet.
Over. There it is. Big crash. They crashed in the back. The 09's flipping down the back straightaway, and there's still no caution.
Yeah, I kept it straight, so we will not get a yellow. But that car was up on its side. What a big mess.
How did Joshua Balliet save that truck? He has virtually no damage, and I thought he was in the middle of that. And the battle for the lead again. These two of the very dominant trucks.
We will go back and watch that wreck in a moment here, but John Hall trying to keep the lead away from the 33 of Weishart, who's been the dominant truck so far. And we're very quickly heading into the waiting stages of this race, so you have to keep on it.
Fambro, Bourne, Swan, and Senesac are the trucks I see damaged out of that, but that was a hard battle for the lead. It starts with Balliet getting sideways ahead of this.
It's going to just cause a stack up right here, the 6, the 18.
18 got loose, and look at this, the 09 gets launched on his side.
And that will likely be the end of it for Senesac tonight, unfortunately.
I can't believe that save Joshua Balliet made.
Did a great job, but he did lose a bunch of spots in it here as Weishart clears John Hall. Everybody starts doing the tire dragging down the front straightaway, searching for room, and here comes Mason Kane up to the outside.
It's really been a good restart because of that for Mason Kane. He's up to 5th. Travis Beckner's gotten up to 7th. Brad Slaughter Jr. is already back up to the 8th position.
Oh, 28th in the wall, hard out of 2.
Oh, that was a big hit, yeah. Don't know if there's much damage, but
Balliet softened his blow on the rear bumper. Didn't want to drive in there too hard onto Beckner. He's side by side again with the 8. These two are like magnets in this race.
Gravitated towards each other twice already. Hopefully we don't make it number 3, but they're side drafting pretty hard. What this has done is really spread out the field. It's taken 4 trucks out of this race. One of the 4th one being Greg Mitchell. So it's shortened the field out. But it's also spread the field out a lot.
Well, that could
not at the front.
That could mean 2 things. More trucks in the wall. That could mean 2 things. We either go green from here to the end because the field's spread out, or the aggression kicks up 10 notches because the field's spread out. We could get another yellow very quickly.
We'll just have to wait and see, but at least at the front it's not calm. We still got 10 trucks under a blanket while it's really spread out after that. The 38 working the wheel. Look, Garrett Grant up into almost 2nd position as he looks on John Hall. This might be the biggest lead a race leader has had all night. It's half a second.
Yeah, I think what happened last night when Beckner was able to break the draft and drive away, if Weishart could do that, that's a level of control no one's had yet tonight.
We'll see if that happens, but they're still mixing it up. We're 3 by 3, 4th on back almost. Therian's up the front of that. Justin Sogak has worked his way into the top 5, but you still have 6 playoff drivers in the top 10.
John Hall side drafts the 5. Drives it hard on the bottom, but I don't think enough to clear.
John Hall, another slide job. He will clear the 5.
Ooh, Brad Slaughter over-under on Beckner to trade spots with him.
Garrett Grant will not battle for 2nd. He will try to push John Hall back up to the 33 of Weishart, as they're going to door again the 8 and the 28.
I think the 8 liked the position of power down here a little better. He's going to get ahead of the 28 and stop the brakes. Beckner runs into the back of him there and holds up the 0-7.
And Balliet, I think he wanted 4, but didn't want to do it. Him and Beckner jawing back and forth. This is probably more beef than we had last night, and there was a lot of beef last night from what I heard. So much so that there's still a pending appeal, but never mind that. This is getting spicy.
Yeah, I mean, Slaughter drove in there on the bottom, overcommitted, but just slammed the brakes to point the nose and keep the thing from sliding up the hill. And Beckner chose to not get out of the throttle. That's his prerogative, right?
Yep.
You don't have to do anything. So, but I'm not sure that is going to help them write a truce here by the end of this race.
I would not think so. No love lost. Another one to add to the 28's list, I would say, if it wasn't added already.
I mean, wasn't the 8 already on it?
It might have been. It's hard. With all due respect, it is. We're losing count.
Page 3.
It's a notebook at this point. You know, I have a notebook to, jot down setups, some crew chiefs. It's just to settle scores, really.
Yeah, I just wonder, I mean, for Beckner, it doesn't really seem to bother him. And it doesn't seem to hold him back. Now, you could argue that a couple of incidents have put him back in a bit of a harder spot, but he seems to thrive as the heel. Very Kyle Busch-esque.
Sounds like someone.
Yeah.
Some racer over his head. I think I was there once.
Yes, well, I mean, I've made that comparison more than once. Look how you turned out.
Last time. Yeah, I get to be in the booth and get paid money, even though I was for lack of a better term, a bad driver.
I paid
not a
money.
bad driver, but bad. Well, maybe Finian does on the downhill.
Down the front
take his
stretch.
pay.
Yes, down the front stretch, just over 35 to go. Here's Anna Sogak. There's a 0-7 just ahead. That's that green elite truck. And look how everyone's shifted up the track. But I still don't think that's the end-all, be-all. You kind of have to turn to the bottom to start pulling a pass of any kind. Oh, trouble!
Oh, the 8 and 28 again.
Wow. Where'd Beckner go? There he is.
That's 3. That looked like net code, I think, but we're still side by side.
I don't dare take the camera off of this. I bookmarked that. We'll go back and look at it again in a moment.
Bookmark it because it might happen.
Oh, there goes the 28.
And he's probably going to spin this one out to make sure the 8 gets an EOL. And there's the caution. Wow. That is 4 times these two have come together, and that was pretty obvious that was coming. All they were doing, Bressler just said over the radio trying to tell him, wasn't obvious enough.
Here's the thing that led to this.
It probably puts us in our window to make it on fuel.
35 to go should be pretty safe.
Everyone's probably going to take their second to last set.
28 was
the first one.
Chasing it up the hill here. There was big net code there.
There is net code. Neither driver knows, though.
Right,
It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
So they have no clue. So the 8 thinks the 28 turned him. 28 probably thinks the 8 came down. That's the bad thing about iRacing. Sometimes it's not no one's fault, but nothing you do. But then here comes the payback. The 8 gets slide jobbed and right into the back of Beckner, spinning him sideways. And
I bet your race control's tired of looking at these two.
remember the last cutoff race for the Final 4 in trucks? It was Beckner, but not Slaughter. It was Cameron Hearn and him coming together.
I do remember that.
Gateway. And once again, they're both going to be at the back, restarting at the back. It's just not helping either driver doing this either.
No, they're definitely getting distracted.
And Beckner's in a better spot to do this. Slaughter only came in 5 points above the cut line. If he causes another caution, it's a drive-through penalty, and it puts him down the order. He can't afford to do this.
Well, especially not at a track where you have to be so close and so fast that, we saw the 28 sideways before that netcode contact. You can create an accident without even trying, and it's still your fault. So,
Mike,
I don't like having my mulligan already used up.
Those meatballs really hurt Michael Curhan. It gave Tom Bourne, as the 33 gets the lead, it gave Tom Bourne the lucky dog. He and Greg Mitchell came back out a lap down, so he can't take the lucky dog. So it looks like Curhan's going to take his first wave around of the night, and he's going to need a quick yellow, hopefully, for his sake. As I can hear him clutching under caution because he probably can't make it from here.
So just over 30 laps to go now. We're winding things down here from Auto Club Speedway, and there's a look at this 2-mile racetrack. No longer in this configuration, and it will never be again.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it can be Amazon Distribution Center or something.
Don't say that, no. That's the worst outcome.
Race fans, no need to fear. Winter is about to disappear. It's your last chance to shop from our new selections of Champion hoodies, jackets, and sweatshirts before they're gone. Easier to shop, quicker to ship, better to wear. That's shop.areairacing.com. Man. We're going to double up for the restart here. Weishart has been the driver in control. And here is a look at the stats. 44 laps led. Make that 45 of the 61 we've completed.
He'll almost certainly steal that bonus point for most laps led away. I don't believe. He has a shot. I think John Hall probably can't get it even.
As soon as they take the restart, Weishart will all but lock that up.
Yeah. So that's a bonus point taken away. No one got the bonus point for a pole either. So
I think
we've seen those bonus points be very important this playoff run.
At 47 would lock that up for Weishart. John Hall's the only other truck that could do it. Actually, no, he couldn't. So even if you let basically everything from here on out, there's no way. So David Weishart will lock that up. I thought no one else had led, but Slaughter has. Sorry.
Yeah, Slaughter has. So maybe new players up at the front at this point. Well, there has been. Garrett Grant's third. This is a great run for him. Most starts in area history. Danny Ware's up the 9th. He was in the wall not too long ago. Sean Peachin's top 10. And you can't forget about Jake Matheson. He's up to 15th after dropping out. We'll see what happens. And also the 28 and 8 nose to tail at the back of the field. That will have to be watched.
Yeah. I wish I had split screen capability because we're going to need it here for this restart.
One day.
Laps, no, I don't want any more computers, trust me. Lap 62 of 95. And green flag. Weishart with a nice launch, and he's off and away.
Already got a driver looking 3 wide in the back, but they get it blocked off. But yeah, great jump for Weishart. This should bring Garrett Grant the second through turns number 1 and 2. Mason Kane's now up to 3rd. He's looking for second on Garrett Grant. Can't get it done as Valiant washed up the track. He might have bumped Garrett Grant out of the way as they're bumping in the background.
Yeah, lots of drivers slipping and sliding around back here. Mason Kane up to 3rd place now. Can he make a big send down here on the bottom and maybe grab second?
Gonna try to get by Grant. Looks to the inside. They might make contact. They almost did as Grant's loose, but he's going to have a push from John Hall here unless Hall chooses to go 3, which he can, as they're all searching for grip down out of turn number 4 and down the straightaway.
These two, the 8 and 28, still nose to tail. It's going to be hard to keep bouncing around, keeping our eyes on one and the other. John Hall to the outside. If he can get the overlap, he didn't. Oh, that was a touch there on the 2.
Careful. Here comes Garrett Grant. Will he go for the lead? I believe he might be a teammate of a 33 if I'm not mistaken. So he's going to stay in line with Weishart one way or the other and get a little single file action out of the top 4. Oh, Theory and Munsell almost had contact battling for 5th.
John Hall hard left off the back. Oh, the 8.
Pit blocks. That was on Joey Chapman. Keeping him behind, trying to keep any track position possible, not trying to go back down the order, also trying to keep pace with Beckner as the 33 keeps diving to that bottom to keep that lead.
John Hall had a big counter steer moment in the center of 1 and 2. They're doubled up now down the back straightaway. 30 laps to go next time by, and the laps are clicking away pretty quickly here at the tail end of this race.
They all need something to go their way, but they all need, all these playoff drivers that need wins, they need to somehow crack David Weishart. The only person who's really had a challenge for him has been that 0-3 of John Hall. That playoff cut line is tight with Mason Kane up at the front, but that's including Slaughter still down the order, which could easily change as it's starting to change. Still trying to get through the field, but not as much quick progress. He's only 16th.
Look at Slaughter trying the outside here. If he can get a clear road to race, he's not gonna. He's gonna get to the outside of the 28 though. And
I'm sure that's what he likes. Stafford's going to be on the top. He's going to try to use his top to get the runs. I don't think he wants to go to the bottom, get bogged down, slower down the straightaways. You need that speed down the straightaways and need to utilize it. So he's trying to make that work right now.
He will have that spot more than cleared on the 28. Focus is now forward.
Don't look now, but Jake Matheson has just cracked the top 10.
It's a very impressive feat to get knocked out from an internet discontinuity, come back in, and still have a shot to win the race. That's very, very impressive. And he might have a legitimate chance at it here.
I would say it's a very legitimate chance. He's just got to get back through the field a little quicker this time, as Balliet has settled into the 6th position, must win, so it doesn't matter for him. Shane Therian settled into the 7th position. This is not really what he needs position-wise as well. As the 8 and 28, they might have to work together a little bit to get back through there, but somehow I doubt that will happen.
Yeah, they don't seem like the best of buds right about now, which is a shame, because if they had been kind of a little bit more cordial, I mean, they wouldn't be back here, first of all, but if they were, then they might find some advantage doing that. Here's Justin Munsell driving for 4th, alongside John Hall, just ahead Kane, Brandt, Weishart, the next 3.
Battling's getting tight, but it almost seems more spread out because we've lost a few more trucks. Slaughter and Dalton might have made contact in the back, but the 0, 3, and 6. Munsell's been consistently like lingering in the top 6 or 7, but can't seem to really get much further up than that. He's been trying to work the bottom, work the top, but just he's not been able to get track position when he needs it, and he cannot clear John Hall right now for this 4th position.
Well, people have been a little bit calmer on this restart. Is this the calm before the storm?
It's exactly what we saw last night. It got calm, and then it all broke loose. So I would be shocked if this is any sort of calm to the very end of this race. Still such a long way to go.
Yeah, the attrition level's actually been pretty low tonight. We've got 26 of 28 starters still running on the track. Last night we had about a dozen cars out of the field by the tail end of the race. But there still is 25 to go, so there's that.
Yeah. Still watching all these playoff drivers. Slaughter up to 13th. Beckner's on his bumper back there behind him, pushing him through. Or at least we'll see if he's pushing him through. Beckner can't afford to wreck him again either. Both of them would get UOs for pass-throughs, and he can't afford that.
I mean, I'm not keeping score, but race control certainly is, and they're both 1-1, so.
You gotta be careful to not admit it over the radio either.
Well, you know, the thing is race control has them as 1-1, but I bet they both think they're 0-2.
Yeah. Even though both of them got spun once.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. Oh, someone got put in the wall back there. Powerhouse truck. I think that was Fontana again. Might have been Shane Wolf as well. It got really tight.
On Hall, on the outside of Mason Kane. This 31 truck has been very good, but his problem is he is up here in the mix, but he just can't seem to crack the lead.
He's trying, but Garrett Grant is being... Oh, caution, we got a crash. It's Travis Beckner again. And he's got damage this time.
Oh, boy.
And this gives Michael Curhan the lucky dog to get back on the lead lap. Surely not a 4th time. Or this would be 5. Can't be, right?
What happened to Beckner this time with 25 laps to go? He was right in behind V8. Had Peachin to his outside, and I think he's...
Ooh. Oh, he tried. Looked like he tried clearing up, and he was not clear, and Peachin had nowhere to go. Let's see, he's clear here. He just didn't fully commit to it, I don't think.
Peachin had another couple of feet, but again, there's a lot of racetrack to the left and not a lot to the right, so pick your battles, right?
Yeah, I bet Beckner's probably thinking he'd be a little higher. That's probably racing, if anything.
Yeah, I think Peachin will probably say, hey, man, this is not the battle.
You know what? If you look on that onboard again, you can see he's pretty much in the same tire tracks as Slaughter here. You can watch it right here. He is in the tire tracks.
Yeah.
Just following the 8.
Again, it's just about picking your battle. I mean, for both of them, but I think Peachin's probably saying, hey, man, like, hard stance. I'm going to keep my line. I'm not going to let you drive across the nose. And in that particular circumstance, it's going to end with 28 in a big way.
And it's going to really be interesting. Everyone's down to a final tire set. So if you take tires now, it's it. And it looks like we have a lot of people coming in.
Oh,
Therian stays out. Once again, Curhan's back on the lead lap, and Therian might be the only playoff driver to stay out.
So they're betting on another caution, which is fairly likely.
Oh, 28 does get the EOL.
Well, I don't know that mattered a whole lot anyway.
Well, I mean, he gets the penalty. It's not an EOL, sorry. That's the drive-through penalty.
Oh, you're right.
Look at that right front. The right front almost looks damaged.
It is. This is not a healthy truck.
Like the wheel. It's wobbling.
Yeah, so the question is, can he, I mean, he had a bit of a differential coming in, but can he maintain that? Especially with drivers like the 24 going to be up the order a bit.
Definitely going to change things up big time. And who knows how many tires. Current might still have 2 tire sets left. He might take one here. He's actually in a good spot because he's going to be one of 2 playoff drivers with a tire set left. Everyone else, I believe, just took their final set with just over 20 to go. A lot of drivers did still stay out, though. Munsell, Therian, and Sogak Ware, all the way back to, I believe, Bobby Tinchin 12th. Then Weishart's the first one out on 4 tires. Don't think we saw 2 tires there that time, as that board will be updated soon enough.
Yeah, so no 2 tire calls there. I like the call to stay out only because we have enough laps left that if we were to get a caution, I think it would be worth having tires full. So, but we are caught in a little bit of a tricky scenario where if caution comes out immediately after the restart, there's no point in pitting. But if the caution comes out 10, 15 laps from now, you're really close to the end. And we did get a lot of cars that did pit, so this is a tough scenario, and I could have seen how it went both ways. What makes me nervous for Therian is that all the other playoff drivers did come to pit lane, except for him.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I want to be the only outlier, but it kind of is a give it all or nothing sort of situation here, I think.
It definitely puts Beckner in an awkward spot. He'll probably be down to about the 23rd or 24th position when he comes out of pit road. He'll be probably last on the lead lap, and it really does shake up the points, but even as they run, he is still, I believe, above the cut line because everyone is still starting at the back for the most part because they're on new tires. This is good for Therian if it holds this way with 10 points, 11 points between him and Slaughter, who put John Hall on the cut line, but we got fresh tires in behind, and we've seen a lot of fall off tonight. We haven't gotten the longest of runs. Our longest run is most likely about around the 20 lap range, but we're seeing close to 1.7 seconds of fall off in just those 20 lap runs.
Well, we're going to have about 15 minutes worth of racing if it goes green to the end, and it'll be just over 20 laps, 40 miles in distance. Next week, we finish off the season in the Windy City, Chicago, Illinois, just out to the southwest of it, actually, Joliet. Track that is pretty near to my current residence in the city of Chicago, and head there for the last round of the season and crown our champion for the 2023-2024 Area Truck Series. Justin Munsell is the control truck on the inside lane, and the number 6, the top 12, did not come to pit lane. Green flag.
That was a wacky start there. That's probably the best you'll ever see someone in second get a jump on the restart. Therian was even with him, but he doesn't have the push.
See on the left-hand side, the leaderboard showing how many laps the driver's been out on their tank of fuel and set of tires. This is really wild back here for about 10th on back.
Therian already kind of struggling. He's back to 4th. We're 3 and 4 wide. I think the first driver on new tires is already David Weishart, but Mason Kane trying to follow him through.
Brad Slaughter has a lot of trucks out the windshield here, but he doesn't want to get caught up in someone else's mess. 4 wide out of turn 4. This is not where Slaughter wants to be.
Oh, they made the contact. He got away from it. It's Garrett Grant and Fontana, but they saved it. Meanwhile, Beckner serves his pass through. He has a lot of right front damage. He's going to struggle as it looks like Anna Sogak's going to go for the race lead.
Yeah, I cannot believe 5 saved that. That was one of those death wiggles that's hard to escape from. 20 laps to go this time through, and they're side by side for the lead, the 88 and 6.
The furthest, Weishart's already making good time up, but actually the Mason Kane truck actually got by him. He's the furthest one up on new tires. He likely needs a win, and he's looking for a top 5 already.
And this would be a heck of a race for Mason Kane. Contact out of 4.
Crash, they're gonna crash. Therian's in the wall. And Sogak hit the wall from the lead, and Mason Kane's all the way up to the battle for the lead.
They're doing a great job keeping it straight after the contact is initiated, but how many times can they do that before someone bobbles?
into the lead. Look at Weishart just trying to make sure he follows him through to prevent that win from happening. It would not be good for teammate and his driver Slaughter if that worked, as he's trying to get back through the field, but he's got two Miller trucks right in front of him, Matheson and John Hall. Look at Weishart going for the lead, gets blocked by Mason Kane.
Mason Kane needs to win this race to solidify his way to Chicagoland. But David Weishart has been the dominant truck, and he wrestled it away from the 33.
It'd be great if Kane could at least lead a lap. Don't think he's going to. Dead even out of 4. And look at the run John Hall and Jake Matheson are going to have, both of them back in this race. They brought Brad Slaughter with them.
Laps are clicking down. It is just game time here. Weishart has just cleared the 31. That's a critical pass for him to make. And most of the top 10 is now single filed out.
Weishart drops down, breaks draft. Hall 3rd, Matheson 4th, Slaughter 5th. Joshua Valiette needs 5 more positions. 6th place is not good enough currently. And has not worked out for Shane Therian at all. He's dropped well down the order. And this is going to be tough for him as we wait this, still trying to see what the points are going to do to Beckner as everyone sorts themselves out.
Yeah, if we get a caution, that calculus changes. But until then, that's going to be a catastrophic strategy error.
He needs a caution very badly for this to even come close to working.
Almost not yet, though, right? I mean, you'd almost want it to wait 2 or 3 laps more and then come out just so he has a bigger advantage. Remember, the drivers that just pit only have 6 laps on their tires. You might want 10, maybe 12 before you have an advantage.
Speaking of 12th, there's a change in that position. Look who's gotten close to the top 10. That is Michael Curhan passing for that position. This is the furthest up he's been since he started 10th after being in a crash lap 2. He's coming through the field. It could be too little too late, but he's charging when he needs to, but still also likely in a must-win situation. He's 17 back as they run, as that cut line has gotten even tighter.
Yeah, that's, I think you're right about the too little too late, but we'll see what he can do.
Beckner's only 3 to the good. It's important that Kane's just got to stay up there. He's really almost going to have to win this race because he will not fall back much more.
Yeah, and for Beckner, you're right. He's not going to fall back anymore because he's the last driver running on the lead lap. The next driver is 2 laps down, Fred Mitchell. Mason Kane, if he were to... can't pass any more trucks except for Weishart, and if he did, it wouldn't matter how many he passed because he'd win the race. But it would certainly help if Brad Slaughter Jr. lost some spots, and he is right there in 4th.
He's going. Here comes Matheson to the bottom. Hall's going to, I don't know, give him draft or not clean air. Either way, those two side by side for that 4th position. Slaughter's going to get the run. Valiette's trying to follow Matheson through. Matheson shuts the door. Valiette crosses him over, needing any position he can get and any stroke of luck he can get, as Slaughter really checked up hard into the corner. I think it surprised them both. We're 3 wide.
Yeah, I don't think they meant to do that. They backed out a little early to put them in a pretty tight spot of 4. Still 3 abreast here for 4th place.
Tight stuff right now. And it's important for Slaughter to maybe split up those Miller Racing trucks so they can't work together to pass Weishart or himself. So we've gotten a really single filed out with these drivers on new tires because of this.
Mason Kane is 1 spot shy of an automatic send to the championship round as a playoff competitor. If he can stay here in 2nd and not lose any spots, Connor, what would you do if you're Mason Kane in this position?
Well, as weird of a track as it is to do it at Auto Club, you're going to have to get physical. You're probably going to have to move him up out of the groove. Maybe a slide job, get him out of the groove, push him up with the right side of your truck, but it's a shot at a championship on the line. You're almost going to have to at least attempt to make contact for this race win. It's all or nothing with the way the points are. He can't do anything else but try to win this race.
He hasn't really been in this position yet either. I mean, has he earned enough brownie points to get away with 1 on Weishart before Weishart retaliates?
The brownie points are out the window. If you have a shot to make it to Chicagoland with a shot at the title, you don't care who you wreck. It could be your own teammate for all he cares. You could wreck Beckner out of the race lead and he won't care. You don't care about brownie points when it comes to going for the race win at the end of a season. All that matters is going to try to win a championship. He tries the slider on Weishart. Wasn't clear, though.
As long as he doesn't lose a spot to Hall or Slaughter.
Yeah. Who does John Hall go with here?
Yeah,
that's the question.
That is an interesting question.
He has to block Slaughter.
And Mason Kane goes back ahead of the 0-3. It's going to allow the 8 to get to the inside.
And they doored for 3rd coming into turn number 1. wonder if John Hall is going to try to play good teammate to push his teammate to a win, but that you can't really rely on that, I wouldn't think, because he's not fully safe either.
Big push here from the 0-3 to the 31. Kane tried the lower move earlier. That didn't work. Otherwise, he's following in dirty air into 3 and 4.
He's going to get clean air on the nose from the 33, though. He'll get some draft. Now Slaughter is going to be stuck on the bottom. He's going to start to fall back, probably the 5th. Joshua Badliet also needing a win, putting himself in at least a position to maybe challenge for it, as Kane's going to wait again, just pushing in the 33, probably waiting for his moment. I would think you want to wait until 3-2 to go to make the move. We saw Seth Knoll pull out too early to the bottom last night, cost him a shot at the win, almost cost him a shot at Chicagoland because of it. You got to time it perfectly, like a super speedway.
Kane isn't safe by any stretch as far as his positioning here, but it really helps to have someone assisting you from behind in a moment like this. He's really only still here because he has a teammate in the rear view. If it wasn't John Hall, I don't think Mason Kane would still be hanging on to second.
Yeah, not at all, I don't think. It's probably too little, too late, but that 24 is the fastest truck on the track. If he just had a little bit more draft, you could see him kind of on his own there, trying to chase down Garrett Grant to maybe have a shot at this. Maybe if they get side by side, that 24 could catch up, but still leaving tires. It's going to be hard to do. This is just like what we saw last night. Everyone on the top line protecting that high groove.
10 laps to go, 20 miles left, about 6 minutes worth of racing. We're going to know the 4 that are going to the playoffs next week in Chicago, and we're going to know who wins this race.
It looks like Matheson got 2 for 1. He slid up right in front of Balliet. And these 3 are really fighting hard for this position. How about Jason Dalton in 7th? Haven't talked about him all night. He's in this lead pack battle. Weishart really tight out of 4. Lost some momentum, but I think he'll keep the lead.
Look at all the colorful playoff drivers, 2nd through 6th. Then David Weishart, not in the playoffs, was eliminated by virtue of his teammate, Brad Slaughter, winning. And wow, a huge send from the 0-3.
Now this kind of shakes things up because now they're not really working together, but you know, maybe the 52 and 0-3 will get out in front. We don't know what type of games might be played, but Hall's going for the lead. He's definitely been the only other driver that can really fight this 33, but he doesn't have help or a push, as they'll go right back by him on the top.
Well, I think they're comfortable now because here's another teammate, the 52 of Jake Matheson. But he's not going to assist the 31. He's also going to go for a victory here.
Man. Slaughter can't lose any more positions, or because if Kane finished 2nd, it would be incredibly tight. So Slaughter has to keep his spot as well, as he's got side draft. They doored for the race lead there. Watch this send into turn number 1.
David Weishart is getting ganged up on by Miller Racing trucks. 8 laps to go, and he's lost the lead to John Hall.
Yep, Hall up to the lead, but watch this run coming back for the 33. He might not have anywhere to go, though. Matheson's going to push Mason Kane. And the 33 will have no draft. He just doored Mason Kane. That looked a little intentional. They're going to crash. They saved it. I think Weishart got fed up with the team games there.
Yeah, but it's going to hurt him all the same.
He said he didn't mean to. I don't know.
They got tangled up,
track.
And that was a messy one. Here's a look at it.
Let's see here. Probably shouldn't speak too soon myself. It just looked very, very odd. Right there, it just comes down, then Kane responds. I don't know how you call that, but either way, it's given John Hall a pretty good lead over Mason Kane.
Yeah, I can't believe they saved that. That was, well, for sure, someone was going into the grass.
And David Weishart is an elite race. He's dominated, led the most laps, and it's slipping away under 10 to go.
Man, that is frustrating. I mean, what happened to Travis Becker last night? Also, yeah. I mean, leading the race here, I don't care how many laps you lead, you got to lead the most important one. John Hall leads with 6 laps to go.
Really going to be interesting to see how these two teammates race each other. It's Beckner, the last driver in on points as they run now. It's going to be tight. Balliet's diving to the bottom, driving to the top. He's trying everything he can as Matheson and Slaughter switch spots there.
We saw how Weishart's team handled the one-in, one-out scenario. And Weishart is no longer in the playoffs, while the 8 is. Now the 0-3 probably could get in if Kane wins this race, but Travis Beckner would not. This is the challenge of having 4 Miller Racing trucks all vying for 3, well, the rest of the 3 spots. I mean, just look at this. The top 4 right now, Connor, only one truck is not a Miller Racing truck heading into Chicago.
Yeah, and they were talking about how they wanted all 4 trucks in. It's just looking like it's going to be a tall task. 5 laps to go. I don't think Mason Kane has the pace to stay with John Hall. This is one of the biggest leads on the longer run we've seen anyone get. Jake Matheson, I think, is going to try to at least push him for a little while, but if he wants a shot to win, he's going to have to start going himself. That's 31's running out of pace as they get further spread out behind him. Weishart's about to lose 5th to Joshua Palliette, who's also running out of time.
Yeah, there's no real utility to get the 31 in because it knocks out the 28. And you probably want your sharpest tools to really be the one you use next week. And 31's had a really good year. I don't know if I would consider him a favorite in the championship 4. I'm not sure that that's really on the minds of these Miller Racing drivers right now, but yeah, I think it's going to be tough for Kane to run down the 0-3.
They're probably going to lap Travis Beckner as well before the end of this race. And good for Beckner. As long as he stays where he is, the way it's running, he really doesn't need Mason Kane to win is what he doesn't need right now. So he's hoping at least, kind of hard to root against a teammate, but that's probably what's going on right now.
Yeah, Shane Therian, that strategy call did not play out. He's 12th. And he would be out by 13 points as it stands. Here, 31, Mason Kane changes his line. But he's still half a second back, and that gap is growing.
Yeah, that incident with the 33 and 31 really set things back and just let the 0-3 pull away. I think Matheson would have had to pass him already. I don't think he's going to be able to get there in time, even if he passed him now. Much faster. Kane's struggling.
John Hall's going to get 2 laps to go here, and he's 7/10 clear. Battle is now for teammates for second.
It seems like Matheson, at least until the final lap, he's content. He's pushing the 31, trying to keep him up there, but the gap is now 0.6 of a second.
And now, Kane goes to the bottom, and Matheson goes to the top side. Kane drove in there hard, made up a couple tenths of a second, but I think he's going to lose that all in the straightaway. Here's Palliette having a look at Slaughter for 4th.
Slaughter doesn't really want to lose that spot, but looking good right now at the very least as Palliette's trying. He's just a few laps too late. He's starting to get faster on this long run, but out of time.
Well, after 94 laps, we're going to get our white flag. John Hall has 2 miles to go and his teammate behind. Mason Kane would need to win this race to advance. He's 3/10 back.
Kane gained 0.2 of a second that time by Hall to the top, as he has ran all long run this time around, but he's going to get that run off the corner to pull away, I would think.
Yeah, I don't know that Kane can make up 3 whole tenths in the corner. I've seen crazier things happen, but Kane is going to have to drive it in here harder than he's ever driven something before. Down to the bottom in 3 and 4, but John Hall's already covered it off. Checkered flag for John Hall. He is going to go to Chicago next week. He'll be the 3rd of the 4 Miller Racing drivers to be there alongside. Checkered flag, John Hall wins at Fontana.
Easily in, one of the most dominant trucks of the night. They're 3 wide in the background, racing for the top 10 position as what they finished. What a good long run they ended on. John Hall very deserving to be in the final 4. Too little, too late for a few others, but a pretty thrilling race.
Yeah, and Mason Kane will just miss out. Shane Therian out, Kurhan out, Palliette out. Moving on to Chicago, 3 Miller Racing drivers, Jake Matheson, John Hall, Travis Beckner, and one of the other ones, Brad Slaughter Jr. will have to take it to him.
The lone David Weishart Racing truck to make it in, and he had to fight for it. If it wasn't for that win at Kansas, he would not be here. It would likely be the other truck that was out, which was Mason Kane, but it was not meant to be. And it's going to be tough for 3v1. Not only it's going to be tough to beat Matheson and Beckner, but this John Hall guy is pretty darn good.
He has gotten hot at the right time. This is his now 4th win of the season, and just shy of the season high, which is Jake Matheson. And it has just been a Miller Racing season, with the exception of Weishart snagging one. I think, is that Weishart and Slaughter are the only 2 drivers to win other than Miller Racing. That is a dominant season for Miller.
Yeah, that is what we had. Weishart with 1, Slaughter with 2, and the only other winner outside of that camp was Nathan Jump all the way back at Las Vegas, which was race 2, and really that was between Matheson and Scioli. So that how dominant this season has been for Miller Racing can't be understated. As they end up another 1-2-3 on the season, they've been outstanding.
They have been absolutely outstanding. There's a look at your top 10, Connor, and man, Joshua Balliet 3 spots shy. What a great finish for him tonight, but it wasn't good enough, and it's a shame because you hate to have the great run overshadowed by the fact that he's not going to move on and compete for a championship. But you just can't consistency your way into this. You need to win races, and that's what Miller Racing and Slaughter have done.
We talked about it all playoffs. Tom Bourne, just like last season, could not win a race and ended up biting him. He would have been in that final round in what was last year, Miami, if he could have just won 1 race somewhere. Balliet was the same way. He just couldn't win anywhere, and it's kind of cost him here as he comes up 3 spots short. But like you said, best run of the season for him. And poor Michael Curhan, he recovered to an 8th place, which is incredible considering he really didn't have a shot tonight after the lap 2 crash.
Well, Justin Munsell 11th in the number 6 Shane Theory, and that strategy call did not play out. Almost did with a couple potential cautions. And we'll run down the rest of the order, and the night did not go Travis Beckner's way. Neither did it for me. My announcer point's going to suffer again. Man, Beckner's not been my good luck charm. But that's your race results, and it is another top 3. So I think it's worth talking to all 3 at once. Guys, this has just been a phenomenal season for all of you guys, including your teammate Travis Beckner, who did not have a great night at the tail end of the evening here. But Mason, let's start with you. You're not going to make it into the final 4, but up in the top 3 with your teammates and battling for a win had to feel good.
Yeah, that's the best way I could have ended it right there. I gave it all I had. I got stuck in the back at the beginning, and I was about to lose my mind. But once I got up there, I had enough speed, but I just roasted those tires trying to stay with everybody and try to cut through the field. I thought we had a chance to win it after we got through the field, but John's always so good, and these guys are the best teammates you could ask for. You know, even though we were all racing right there for the win, but, you know, we all kind of help each other out at the same time.
Jake, you were pushing the 31 there, maybe trying to get him up there to battle a little bit more. You had the ability to because you were already locked in. So you're heading into Chicago now. Let's ask you the hard question. You've got 2 teammates to battle next week in Chicago. So, you're a little bit of co-opetition tonight, but is it game on against him next week?
Well, I would move my grandma for a championship, so yes, it's all up in the air next week. But no, I'm really excited for it. Today, just really good race, really fun. I had that issue. I fell out earlier in the race, so glad I was able to get my laps back and get back up here. Yeah, just good run to the end. I'm glad that taking tires with 20 to go worked. I mean, that was really, I thought it was a big gamble. You know, if we had a yellow come out with, 10 to go, 5 to go, we were done. So I'm glad it worked out the way it did.
Jake, congratulations on a solid top 3 tonight. John, your 4th win on the season. You have just had a phenomenal tail end of the year here. Postseason has been very, very good for you. And you're going to be headed to Chicagoland as one of those championship 4, racing your teammates and beating them. And you move on without a drop of sweat on your back, at least for the last couple of laps. Man, what a drive for you tonight. Led some laps, won the race. What are your shots at a championship next week?
Well, I feel pretty good going to Chicago. It's a mile and a half, and that place is a lot of fun. You move around a bunch, so I'm excited to race these guys for a championship. We've got the team championship locked up, so I imagine all the gloves are coming off. So, yeah, looking forward to it. Question for all 3 of you guys. Which one of you 3 is going to win the championship? You can all answer at once.
Well, I think you just left me on a pedestal because I'm not in it. And I'm not picking between the 2.
Good one, Kyle.
Yeah, Jake and John.
I'm gonna say may the best man win.
Fair enough.
I'm gonna say the same. You took the words right out of my mouth.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks a lot. And efficient tonight with all the teammates up here in the podium. Congratulations, guys. We'll see you next week at Chicago.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
All right, wow. What a race. Another fantastic event. Fontana, Connor, never disappoints, and I think you and I both agree that we love coming here. It's a shame that we won't be able to do it in the real world anymore. I know this track has put on some boring races, but at the core of it, a worn-out, wide, low-bank racetrack puts on a heck of a show as it did tonight.
And it sure did tonight. This might have been better than the Cup race. It seemed like you could kind of move around a little bit better at times. And it seemed like the top line wasn't as dominant as it was Monday night. It seemed like the bottom line you could clear up ahead of someone and keep that position, but it was still this sort of the same kind of swapping positions back and forth at the front. We saw outside the top 10 as well, and it was just a crazy race all around. Still very packed up as well. Had some strategy come into it as well. And we also had drama come into it as well, as these should be the official points. We'll get, we know for sure these are the top 4 going into next Tuesday night in Chicagoland. Matheson, Hall, Beckner, all teammates. Brad Slaughter Jr. in as well. See what happens with Beckner and Slaughter next week fighting for a title. They got into it at least 5 or 6 times tonight. They could do the same tomorrow night. And as far as Mason Kane and Joshua Balliet, oh so close. Michael Curhan never really got a fair shot tonight. Shane Theron just got no tires at the wrong time.
Well, from the West Coast, we're going to hop onto the jet stream and fly all the way to the Windy City. And next week, we've got 2 teams fighting for a title. Miller Racing and David Weishart Racing, and we'll have to see which way the wind blows in Chicago. We'll see you there next week, and we'll see you right here on Thursday for the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.